think we've all been seeing the Sintana Energy crew with Knowledge Katti and Co. ringing the opening bell at the London Stock Exchange. And these are proud moments for the country, man. And as a Namibian entrepreneur, you really get to see what over 15 years of resilience looks like. Observing from a distance, from the early 2010s, he's been pushing into Namibian offshore already. At some point, 3 wells were drilled, all came back dry, or at least there wasn't find of significance value. And that's an exercise that reportedly cost over 6 billion. And then came phosphate mining, where environmental approval dragged on for years. Not much materialized yet. And then he acquired Combat Copper Mine, a flooded asset that has been sitting dormant for some time, and got the asset back into production. I think at some point it stalled again, it closed down, there was some retrenchment. And what you really get to see is a pattern of resilience, where 15 years later, Custos Energy owns equity in probably one of the biggest oil finds in the world. That level of tenacity is very, very rare. At that level, then you have Quinton van Rooyen, built Trustco from a small legal insurance product in Windhoek, went on to list it on the JSE, had a couple of court battles with the exchange, but when you are playing at that level, it's part of the game. And now he's busy pursuing listing on Nasdaq. You know, it's a different sector, but the playbook is the same. And it's really very few entrepreneurs from our very beautiful country who get to play at that level. When you are playing at that altitude, setbacks are not exception. That's the entry fee. In 2021, Mark Zuckerberg renamed Facebook to Meta. They were essentially betting on metaverse. The conviction was so high that they had to rename the company. 4 years later, they bent 80 billion and realized that they were too early. A lot of people called it failure. It wasn't. It was probably the most expensive market research in the history of corporate. But someone had to pay the school fee the same way that HRT and Co. paid the 6 billion Namibian dollars in the early 2010s to unlock what Namibia is able to enjoy now. So with Facebook, they redeployed the capital to AI and kept it going. No ego, no pride, but that's what it takes. We live in an era where we want instant results. And I think to a very large extent, it's amplified by social media. We want the outcome today. We want the term sheet this quarter. We want to exit by year 2. But the actual deals that really move the needle and those that end with a bell at the London Stock Exchange, they take decades to build. Things of significant value takes time to build. And I think more often than not, being wrong and being too early looks very identical from a distance. So whatever is it that you're building, keep at it, man. Cheers.